You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Feinerman. You may know me best from CNBC, and I can't wait for you to join me for my new podcast, How She Does It. We dive into all things women, money, and power, and our dynamic guests explore their journey to the top. Join How She Does It wherever you get your podcasts and learn more at hermoney.com.
What do you get when you take two childhood friends with a passion for unexplored history and a whole lot of booze?
You get us, Queen's Podcast.
And here at Queen's, we are spilling the tea on all kinds of women from history.
From New Orleans voodoo queen, Marie Laveau, to Marie Antoinette, and everything in between.
Each queen is paired with a cocktail recipe that will totally get you in the mood to hear the fun, dramatic, and juicy stories of fascinating women from history.
Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Cheers!
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neil, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Neil. I'm here with Jeff, Ken, and Matt. How's everyone doing today?
Hi.
Fantastic.
Hello.
Yeah, so Neil, before we get started, I did want to talk about something. And anybody who listens to this show knows that when I start the show off like this, there's probably something serious coming. And today, I'm afraid it's quite grave.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, so you know how we've always kind of looked up to the Dutch? They're an inspiring society and, dare I say it, aspirational.
Right, we have some friends from there and everything,
Yeah,
right?
Well, I discovered something that is forcing me to examine my entire worldview a little bit differently, and that is Hagelslag. Have you heard of this?
I have not, no.
Okay. Neil, I want you to picture yourself as a small Dutch child, which should be no problem for you.
That's easy.
As you do that usually. And your moeder is not home. Okay?
Okay,
So
no
you have
moeder.
you have to prepare a meal for yourself using 3 ingredients in the kitchen. What is it?
Oh, geez. I'd say something like venison, maybe some whole milk, and a sharp cheddar.
Afraid not.
Okay.
Hagelslag is white bread, butter, and chocolate sprinkles.
Okay.
And they eat this. So I just need an explanation. I just need an explanation. That's all. So Willem, if you could, just let us know.
I'm
Email
surprised
us.
you didn't already know about this.
You knew about this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You knew about Hagelslag?
What a delicious treat.
Yeah, I'm a big
I don't know.
Hagelslager over here.
What do you think, Matt?
Every day, Hagelslag.
This might be a challenge. This might have to be a bet.
We should do a Hagelslag challenge. Maybe there's a
But
correct way of doing
I just
it.
want an explanation. Maybe it's delicious. I don't know.
We'll
It's got
find
all
out.
of the food groups: butter, bread, and chocolate sprinkles.
But
those are the 3 food groups.
But in typical Dutch metal fashion, Hagelslag actually means like hailstorm or something, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. Well, I think maybe we should make that a challenge for today. So maybe if Jeff and Ken, you're going to be partnering today. So maybe if you lose or win, either way, maybe you need to have some Hagelslag. But we do have some special
work, but that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. We're just going to make them eat it regardless. But we do have some special guests here today to take part, and maybe we're just going to add this Hagelslag challenge to the whole game. So let's start with our guest for today. Super excited to have him here. We're big fans of his show. We listen all the time. So many great topics. Wonderful hosts. They're bite-sized. We'll let him explain a little bit more. But coming to us from Johnson City, Tennessee, he's a newly Not a Robot supporter on Patreon, which we appreciate. Ryan Buds from Trivia with Buds. How you doing, Ryan?
Hey, fellas. How's it going? Thanks so much for having me today.
Of course. Thanks for being here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then for everyone at home, what you're doing and how much fun you're having doing Trivia with Buds.
Before I say anything about myself, I have to compliment you guys on doing such a great show for so many years. And I realized I was not a Patreon subscriber today, and that number was at $4.99. And I was like, I got to be lucky number 500, right?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Roll it over.
Awesome. Yeah, I have a trivia podcast myself. Comes out Monday through Friday on most weeks, unless I get super bogged down with crazy life stuff. But there's about 2,200 episodes to listen to, and they're bite-sized, under 10 minutes for the most part every episode. And I've been doing it for, I think, 8 years now. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I host a lot of trivia events all over Northeast Tennessee and Southern California, and a lot of virtual stuff these days. Still, I thought the virtual stuff would kind of die down in 23, but we're still going strong with virtual team building activities for different companies and things like that. But coolest show I got to do recently was with the cast of Ted Lasso in Los Angeles.
That's so
yeah,
cool.
the entire cast, one of my favorite shows, got flown out to host trivia for a Emmy award voting kind of event, and got to meet the whole cast and schmooze with them. And the winner of the trivia on the leaderboard, it said in second place, Jason. So I said, Jason, come on up to the stage and get your prize. And it was Jason Sudeikis, star of Ted Lasso. So
should hope he knows a bit about it. You know?
Yeah, as a creator and star of it, he did get beat by someone who was just a super fan in the audience by a few points. But it was a very fun thing. He came on stage and he said, hey, I'm Jason. And I said, I know. And then he goes, no, Jason on the leaderboard. And then we high-fived and the audience laughed. So it worked out really good.
That's so great.
That sounds really boring. Sorry I had to do that. And, but
I can't believe you had that amazing experience.
I went to sleep that night and had to fly back to Tennessee very early the next morning. And I was laying in bed like a little boy waiting for Christmas or something. And I was just like, did that really just happen to me? And then when I woke up the next day, I still couldn't. It felt like a weird glitch in the Matrix. If this is all an AI simulation, somebody was like, oh, he likes Ted Lasso, let him do that in this version of this weird video game.
Throw in some interesting code.
Yeah, right. I mean, what a fantastic story, and thank you for sharing it. And yeah, and if anyone hasn't heard Ryan's show before, make sure you check it out. And if you need him to host your trivia events, you also can slap the hand that slapped Jason Sudeikis' hand. So
that's very true.
Yeah, so there you go. And speaking of Ted Lasso, we have a special guest host here today who's rocking a very Ted Lasso-esque mustache. It's not true. I'm just going to throw it into the wind here. But we have our friend Nathan Borka coming to us from Duluth, Minnesota, Oakland 5 supporter on Patreon, which we appreciate. Thanks for joining us today, Nathan. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I unfortunately can't follow up Ryan's story here with a good one of my own. But yeah, I live in Duluth, Minnesota, and my job, I work for a large healthcare company, and basically I coordinate medications and make sure that they're covered by people's insurances when the doctor orders them and that sort of thing. It's not anything glorious, but pays the bills.
And important work.
Yes.
Yeah.
As somebody who also does support services for healthcare, it's definitely important. So, yeah, always needed, never appreciated. So
exactly. I'm married to my wife Brianna. We have 2 golden retrievers, Lila and Penny Lane. And my one trivia story is actually involves my wife. So when we were dating, we would frequent trivia night, and I coordinated with the trivia host there to work in a proposal to my now wife. So the last question of the day, he brought me on stage to pretend to read a question, but it was actually a proposal to my wife. So
very cute.
Yeah, that's my trivia story. But yeah, I've always just enjoyed trivia and just kind of random knowledge and that sort of thing. I've kind of been known as that guy.
That's wonderful. Well, it sounds like she got the question right, so that's good too. So
She
congratulations.
did, yes.
Well, thank you for joining us today and for, I'm sure, getting Lila and Penny Lane to help with the questions. You're going to be hosting today, so we need some teams. I already said Ken and Jeff, you're going to be teaming together, but we need to start with Ryan and Matt for their team name. Matt, what is your team name today?
I thought that, we just combine a couple names of our shows and we'll be Triviality with Buds.
All right, and
since they're doing that with Buds, we'll just be Team No Friends.
Team No Friends. Okay. That's all right. And we're going to go to the rules to make sure
it was not as successful of a pilot as Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not.
Kind of sad.
Nathan, any preference on the rules read?
Well, I guess since we were talking Dutch earlier, let's do the Dutch read.
All right, let's get Willem.
De regels van het spel zijn simpel. 20 vragen verdeeld over 2 rondes, waarbij elke vraag 10 punten waard is. Halverwege is er een speciale swingronde, ontworpen door de host van deze week. Na deze rondes beginnen de spelers aan de finale, met de punten die ze hebben verdiend. En hebben ze de mogelijkheid om 0 tot 30 punten in te zetten op 5 gecategoriseerde vragen. Aan het eind van het spel wordt iemand benoemd tot the cream of the crop.
Yeah, I know. I am living in a nightmare, and I am the cream.
Yeah, he managed to...
Thank you, Willem. No description of Hagelslag in there, but maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Yeah, I was slightly
Nathan,
disappointed.
Nathan, feel free to take it away, and I'm just going to be here scorekeeping.
All right. So round one, question one. I don't have any themes, but I'll give some category names, which may or may not give a clue to some of the answers sometimes here. So question number one is Lucky 13. As of this recording, we are about a week away from my 13th wedding anniversary. So, in the traditional 13th anniversary gift, what is the traditional gift? As a hint, it is in the name of a 1944 Cary Grant film, and no, it is not Poison.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and lock in here. I don't know too many Cary Grant films, to be honest, but we're taking a guess.
All right. Well, I haven't reached my 13th wedding anniversary yet because I haven't reached first or getting married. So I'm at a loss here. Ryan, what do you know about these gifts?
Mine is in 2 years, so I have no idea. I remember the first 5 because you really do those, I feel like, at the beginning, and then you very quickly go, what?
Yeah.
It's amazing if we even get each other gifts anymore. I'm going to say...
They get more
You're
practical.
like, wow, I can't believe this is the Scrimshaw anniversary.
Yeah.
I do remember there's a very drastic leap where it's like paper, cotton, and then it's like leather.
Yeah.
Like third year is like sex swing,
Oh. Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
That's when you got to start spicing it up.
Yeah, you got to keep that marriage going. So I know it's not a couple of those very common things. I don't think this is super correct, but I thought of the Alfred Hitchcock movie Rope. I don't know what year that came out, but maybe something out of rope or hemp or something like that. But
yeah,
that's a very loose guess.
Right. I'm okay with maybe like silk. Would it be?
Yeah, that sounds like a movie title as well.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense than rope.
So we'll go with silk.
All right. We just went based off of what substances we might expect to see in a movie title, and we went with steel.
I think what Nathan was going for, I'm just going to step in just for one time here this game, but I believe the poison clue was arsenic and old lace. So I'm thinking it's lace.
Yep, Neil is absolutely correct. So no points. It was a reference to arsenic and old lace. So 13th anniversary gift is lace. And so question number 2 in a completely different direction. The category is Oh Baby. And I'm going to give you plus or minus 2 either way on this one. How many times is the word baby used in Justin Bieber's 2010 song Baby?
Okay, we've done some Bieberometry, and we have come up with our answer.
Are you familiar with the song?
I am familiar with the song, and I know I've asked this trivia question before somewhere in my life, but that, somewhere in the last 13 years.
Well, the chorus goes, baby, 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 oh, baby, 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 oh. And it does that twice. So there's at least 12 per chorus, and I'm guessing 3 choruses. Maybe an outro. So I'm thinking it's either...
It's like 36 to 50, somewhere in there?
Yeah. And I would lean 48, I think. I think they do it 4 times.
I would say anywhere in the 40s I'm comfortable with. So if you say 48, that's good.
Okay, we'll lock in with 48.
So we're going a little higher. We actually think he does it 9 times per chorus, and we think they're double choruses. So that brought us up to 54, and we're adding two more just for any random babies in there, so 56.
All right, well, points to one team. I did not count this myself. I'm basing off what the internet says, and the internet is always right. 56 times is
wow.
Wow. Come on.
And,
what?
And a little bit of extra trivia. So 55 times is from Justin Bieber himself, and 1 time from Ludacris. So as the breakdown.
I literally just pulled out my songwriting instinct there, and that's what we came up with.
I bet you guys feel dumb not knowing one of those was from Ludacris.
Yeah, really
exactly,
dumb. Seriously.
Yeah.
I didn't even, to be honest, I did not know Ludacris was in the song.
All right. Question number 3. Category is The Good Old Boys Club. Presidents Eisenhower and George H.W. Bush are among the non-professional inductees in the World Hall of Fame in what sport?
So I wanted to pick a silly sport. Jeff said a reasonable answer, and we're going to go with the reasonable answer. So what are you guys saying?
Ryan, do we have a reasonable answer?
That would be negative. I know more about Bieber than I do about either of these guys.
Well, if it was his son, I would have said ski shots or beer pong. But we're talking about the father, and I believe he was a large fisherman. I don't know if Dwight also was fishing, but I think that fishing is probably the answer here.
Is fishing considered a sport, like a sport?
Well, it is by those who fish, and by everyone else, not as much. But by them, they say it's a sport. And I think that we should lock it with fishing.
I imagine it wouldn't be a big deal if there was a cheating scandal if it wasn't a sport. So that's actually a really interesting answer. But we went with football, just figuring that was a pretty common thing that people like to do.
All right. Well, unfortunately, no points on this one. The answer in this one is golf. Eisenhower was actually a really big golfer, and there was a big golf boom in the 50s. He was a big proponent of it. And actually, George H.W. Bush comes from a pretty big golf family. The Walker Cup is named after his, I believe, grandfather, and obviously where George Herbert Walker gets his name from. So
I never even put that together.
Yeah.
I always thought it was Herschel Walker, and he was a big football guy. That's my fault.
All right. Question number 4. Curses foiled again. In classical music, what number symphony is considered cursed, as several composers, including Antonin Dvorak, Franz Schubert, and Gustav Mahler, died before completing their next symphony?
You think it's a single digit for sure?
I do think it's a single digit, but
What about ninth?
Ninth? Yeah, it's as good as any other answer. And, less than 10. Couldn't make it. What a shame. We'll say 9.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Symphony number 9. Bump, 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 bump. Yeah, we said 9.
All right, points to both teams. I purposely left off the most famous one, which is Beethoven. Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of the reason I came up with that question. I sing with the Duluth Superior Symphony Orchestra Choir, and we had our concert last night, and we sang Beethoven's Ninth. So that was kind of on my mind. But yeah, several composers have died after completing their Ninth Symphony. All right. Question number 5. Category is Danger is My Middle Name. In 1963, the New York Zoo's Great Ape House had an exhibit named The Most Dangerous Animal in the World. What did this exhibit feature?
I think I know this one, but do you have an idea?
It's an ape house, so I'm thinking gorilla. Does gorilla work for you?
I think that this was like a commentary piece, and it was a mirror, and you were the most dangerous animal.
Okay, that makes way more sense.
Much like we won the Time Person of the Year when it was you, and this was also.
I like it.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Previous award. Yes, the world's most dangerous animal is man.
In the words of Futurama, turns out it was man.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to give points to both teams. Matt had it on the head. It was a mirror. So, yes, man is the most dangerous animal.
Well, if we look in the mirror at ourselves for the scores of this game, it looks like Triviality with Buds with 20, No Friends with 30.
We are not the most dangerous yet. We need more points.
But it's a close game. Anybody's game. All right, round 1, question number 6. The category is Texting Old School. What tech company was founded in 1865 as a paper mill? No word if the paper was as notoriously indestructible as their later products.
Yep, we're going to lock in.
I wrote down Otterbox, but that can't be that old. Something indestructible, but the clue is something to do with texting, right?
Yes. So my thought is the meme of the mid 2000s was how indestructible the old Nokia bricks were. Those brick phones. So I think that this is probably Nokia.
Nokia. I like that better. All right.
So I think they ran an experiment where they dropped a Nokia phone off of a skyscraper, and unfortunately the Earth's core still has not repaired itself. So we said Nokia as well.
Yep, you guys are both correct. It was Nokia. I thought that was interesting that they started their life as a paper mill.
That was my first phone, was an orange Nokia brick. Played Snake on it.
That's all you could play.
Yep.
Used it as a bludgeoning weapon?
I did, yeah.
still
I killed a
works.
man once with a Nokia, so.
No, they also had Othello, Matt. Thank you. So,
All right, question number 7. Category is the Googles do nothing. Google image search was created after so many people were searching for this celebrity's 2000 Grammys outfit that the search engine decided to add a search function.
we're locked in.
It's the only one I know, Matt.
Oh, yeah? I think she wore it recently, didn't she?
Yeah, and also Trey Parker or Matt Stone, I think, wore it as
One
well.
of the two, yeah.
Yeah.
So Jennifer Lopez, right?
J-Lo. Jenny from the block.
Why do you need to search it when it's permanently in your mind, you know?
She's just as beautiful as she was 20 years ago when she wore this dress. So we said J-Lo.
Yep, that was Jennifer Lopez's famous dress.
The real star of that night was the tape.
Holding it all together.
Yes. All right, question number 8. Who are you calling buff-bellied? What animal comes in such species as charming, buff-bellied, and bumblebee?
So I think it's a flying. I think it might be a bird. The bumblebee and the charming sound familiar, something I've heard before. But I'm not sure. Do you have any ideas?
A weird theory that it's tuna because
Okay.
Bumblebee and Charming Charlie and Charlie Tuna. I feel like those are weird plays, but
Bumblebee
buff-bellied
tuna.
doesn't
That's
stick
right.
with me, and I may just be really reaching because of Bumblebee.
Yeah, but it is a quality tuna brand, so I'm not against it. I do.
I do feel like these are more avian names.
Yeah, but there's so many kinds of birds, and I don't think I don't think they're like, it could be a finch, it could be a pigeon, it could be who knows. So, tuna, at least we had some kind of reasoning behind. So I'm okay locking in with tuna.
All right, give it a try.
All right, I too thought it was an avian creature, and thought maybe Nathan was doing a stream of consciousness sort of thing from the previous question, so we went with the booby.
Well, you were on the right track. It is a bird. It's actually the hummingbird.
Oh,
That popped in my head when I thought of Bumblebee and how they move, and I'm like, no, but that does make sense.
Yeah, I believe the bumblebee hummingbird is, due to its size, I think it's, if not the smallest, one of the smallest birds there are. All right, question number 9, the game that never ends. How many hotels come in a standard Monopoly game?
Jeff has a guess. I really need to play Monopoly one of these days because I have no idea, so we're just going with Jeff.
all right. They're locked in. Jeff has played Monopoly, so he has one up on some of us on our team. The only one I've ever played was Star Wars, so I'm thinking that these were the Millennium Falcons, but I don't exactly remember how that worked. Do you have any idea?
I've played a lot of Monopoly, and I just drew the board on my whiteboard desk, and I counted the spaces. And if there is a hotel for every property that you could put a hotel on, that would be 44 hotels.
I think that I remember the official rules of the game. I think people think you can have a hotel on every single one, but there's actually a limited amount that are actually available.
That may be true too.
Which is why they're so valuable, because there's a limited amount. You said 48?
It'd be 44 for every property in the game.
Okay. I think it's less than half of that because I think that creates the scarcity that makes them valuable.
I think it's got to be at least in the 20s. I would say 22. Let's do half of 44. How about that?
Half of 44, 22. That's what we're going with.
So I know with Monopoly that you have to build equally across your entire footprint, right? So if you own like the 3 light blue spaces, you would have to put a hotel on each of them if you wanted to have a hotel. But first you have to go through all the houses, right? And it's up to 4 houses, and then you can put a hotel. So if there's 4 times as many houses theoretically as hotels, I couldn't imagine there was more than like 50 houses. So we settled on 12 hotels. I know it's not a lot, and you tend not to need them because by that time, the game's just moving right to the finish. So,
all right. Well, points to one team. It is 12.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot less than you would think.
All right, let's get the last question of the first round.
All right. Category is Barry Manilow bleeds music. Barry Manilow famously sings the song I Write the Songs, but ironically, he didn't actually write that song. He did, however, write several jingles, including the State Farm Like a Good Neighbor jingle and the jingle for this other ubiquitous household product. I hope you don't get stuck on this one.
Are we stuck on this one?
I think so. What is the name of something? Band-Aids? Band-Aids, something you're stuck on Band-Aids because Band-Aids are stuck on you? Something like
yeah, you're stuck on Band-Aid brand because Band-Aids stick on you, I believe. That sounds like a Barry Manilow jam. In my opinion.
He's rocking out in the booth to that one.
He follows up Copacabana with that jingle at his concerts, I believe. I think we can lock in with Band-Aid.
Yeah, I'm stuck on Band-Aid brand because Band-Aid's stuck on me, Ken.
Oh, I do know that song. Okay.
All right. Yep, you guys both picked up on the clue. I also had added the clue in the name of the category, Barry Manilow bleeds music.
Oh,
it is Band-Aid.
I'm going to need those clues on every question.
We just kept ignoring it.
It's what is that called when a brand is so ubiquitous that you use it instead of like the
like Kleenex instead of
Kleenex
tissue or Q-tip instead of.
There's a name for that, but I can't remember.
Well, speaking of Q-tips, we've cleaned out our ears a little bit, so the scores have gotten higher after hearing the questions. So it looks like Triviality with Bud's going to pick up 30 points, bringing their total to 50 before the swing round, and No Friends picking up 40 points, bringing their total to 70. So slight bigger lead for the No Friends team.
All right, so the swing round I have named Almost EGOTs. So, of course, recently Viola Davis became the 18th EGOT winner when she picked up her Grammy earlier this year. These are going to be people who have 3 of the 4, and so in this swing round, I will give you a name, and you tell me which EGOT award they are missing from their collection.
Sounds good.
All right, number 1 is Julie Andrews. Number 2, Cher. Number 3, Elton John. Number 4, Quincy Jones. Number 5, Bette Midler. Number 6, Liza Minnelli. Number 7, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Number 8, Helen Mirren. Number 9, Al Pacino. And number 10, Barbra Streisand.
All right, we have our figures. We will try to figure out what they're missing, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Hoo-ah.
Have you ever wondered what really happened to Amelia Earhart or the lost colony of Roanoke? Do you ever find yourself scouring the internet for vicious Victorians and their murders by gaslight? Or perhaps you're just sick and tired of women being constantly misrepresented or plain lied about throughout history? If so, join me, Katie Charlwood, history harlot and reader of books, on Who Did What Now, the history podcast that's not your history class. Part of the Airwave Media Network. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Adios, au revoir, au revoir, my friends. Bye-bye. I'll be seeing you.
If you enjoy bizarre true stories, then the Useless Information Podcast is the podcast for you. For example, did you know that author Robert Louis Stevenson gave his birthday away? or that there was a football team that played for 6 years before someone realized that the school never ever existed, or that a dog in upstate New York was once placed on trial for murder. Well, to hear these and hundreds of additional fascinating true stories from the flip side history, be sure to check out the Useless Information Podcast. That's the Useless Information Podcast, podcasting worldwide since 2008 and available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. Be sure to check it out.
Okay, all the answers are in. Let's see what the scores are going to look like after the swing round. Nathan, take it away.
All right. For number 1, Julie Andrews.
Man, I said Julie Andrews is missing an Emmy.
Yeah, I can't picture her on TV, so we also said Emmy.
All right. No points on this one. She's actually missing a Tony, which is
What?
surprising. Yeah. Okay. Number 2, Cher.
For that one, we said Tony.
Yeah, we're sure about the Oscar. That's a pretty known trivia fact, and we think maybe it's a Tony.
All right. Points to both teams. She's missing the Tony. Number 3, Elton John.
Again, can't really picture him doing something on TV, so we said Emmy.
We also said no Emmy for Elton.
And both teams correct. No Emmy for Elton. Number 4, Quincy Jones.
For that one, we thought no Tony.
We weren't sure. It was a toss-up between Oscar and Emmy for us, and we went with Oscar.
All right. Points to Triviality with Buds. No Oscar for Quincy. Number 5, Bette Midler.
On that one, we said no Emmy.
We said no Tony.
No points on this one. The divine Miss M is missing an Oscar. Number 6, Liza Minnelli.
So for this one, we thought no Oscar, because surely she's won a Tony, right?
This was a total guess for us, and we thought it'd be weird if she didn't have a Grammy, so we went with Grammy.
All right. Again, points to Triviality with Buds. No Grammy. I believe she has her Oscar for Cabaret.
That's correct.
All right. Number 7, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
So we know he's nominated a lot for Oscars, but I can't see him accepting award on the Oscar stage. So we said Oscar.
We said no Emmy for Lin-Manuel.
All right. Points to no Friends on that one. No Oscar. He's been nominated a few times, and I think he'll get there someday, but as of right now, no Oscar. Number 8, Helen Mirren.
We went with Grammy on this one.
This one we went Oscar.
All right.
The Queen, Matt.
Yeah, she does have an Oscar for the Queen, but she does not have a Grammy. Number 9, Al Pacino.
What, you didn't hear my spoken word poetry audio cassette? We said Grammy.
We also said Grammy.
All right. Points to both teams. Al Pacino does not have a Grammy.
That would be shocking. Like, that one was the only one I was like, for sure. There's no way.
We suggested it was for the Dunkachino song from Jack and Jill.
Yeah, number 1 Billboard hit.
All right. And number 10, Barbara Streisand.
We thought no Emmy.
We went no Tony on this one.
And points to Triviality with Buds. Babs does not have a Tony.
Crazy.
Ooh, we did not do as well in this swing round.
I think we did better than we thought we did.
Oh, yeah.
You guys did pretty good.
You did. Triviality with Buds picking up 30 points, bringing their total to 80. And No Friends picking up 25 points, bringing their total to 95.
All right. Let's get into round 2. Question 1. Category is Lonely People. Woolton Cemetery in Liverpool, England, has a gravestone which reads in part, died 10th October 1939, aged 44, asleep. What name is on this gravestone, which became the title of a famous song 27 years later?
This is probably a Beatles song, right?
Yeah, that's the time period that would be in that area.
Do you think it's Eleanor Rigby?
Eleanor Rigby. Name in the gravestone, title of a famous song.
I don't think.
What are a few other?
I don't think it says "Hey Jude" on the tombstone.
What?
Hey Jude, rise from the dead.
They don't have any other songs that's a first and last name.
Not that I could think of. That was just the first thing that popped into my head.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I wrote a song about a tombstone.
You know, I was taking a piss in the cemetery and I saw a tombstone, Eleanor Rigby.
We said Eleanor Rigby also.
All right, points to both teams. Yes, it is Eleanor Rigby. Although, if you ask Paul McCartney, he claims that he doesn't remember seeing that name on the gravestone when he wrote the song. So,
just a
But
coincidence.
then again, he has done a lot of drugs.
This is true. All right, question number 2. The category is I've got a sinking feeling about this. Fittingly, this island territory has a shipwreck featured on its flag. I suppose if the flag had one less side, it might be a little too on the nose.
All right, these gentlemen are locked in. So I thought maybe Trinidad because you said one less side, so I had a triangle. You said that's
Trinidad and Tobago
not
is
a country.
a country.
It's a territory.
So talking about a territory, maybe it's Bermuda for the Bermuda Triangle.
There you go. Okay, good teamwork there.
I had just watched Gulliver's Travels, in which this triangle appears heavily at the beginning of the movie. What did we say, Ryan?
I was thinking Bermuda.
Yep.
All right, points to both teams. You picked up on the clue of the triangle. It is Bermuda. All right, question number 3. I've got the best soliloquies. Of all of Shakespeare's characters, Hamlet has the most lines in a single play. But if you count characters who appear across multiple plays, the most lines belong to this character who appears in Henry IV and The Merry Wives of Windsor.
So we have no idea. Should we just say Henry IV? Maybe he's in both?
Sure.
And I'm sure he's in Henry IV. I should hope.
I would imagine he would have a lot of lines in that.
All right, let's go with it.
I have no idea, Matt. Is there a character that shows up in Shakespeare plays like the Sun or God?
Spider-Man is in both.
Or Spider-Man. The Sun or God or Spider-Man.
It's like a crossover Avengers.
He's
epic.
sort of the Samuel L. Jackson of the Shakespearean universe. He's just always peppered in randomly.
Mm-hmm. I think it's stage direction, I believe, would be the character I would pick. I've been meaning to look into Shakespeare. It's such a dearth of knowledge for me. I know nothing, and it comes up all the time, and I still know nothing. So outside of saying Henry IV as well, I have nothing to add.
I think it's the first name of one of Matt's favorite bands and the weapon that Donatello uses from the Ninja Turtles.
Falstaff.
Yep, Neil is correct. It is Falstaff.
Good pull, Ken.
That one was a hard one. Yeah.
So is one like a sequel to the other, or is Falstaff just like an overarching narrator or something?
Yeah, he just pops in. He's like comedic relief, like makes
Shakespeare's
jokes.
just like, I'm gonna bring this guy back.
Yeah,
he was a big hit.
He tested
yeah, he's
well
just
with
a big
audiences.
goofball. It's basically like Jack. If you put like Jack Black in like random movies, and he comes in for like 5 minutes and then he leaves.
All right, question number 4. Do you want to see a dead body? What you need?
Is that the question? No.
That's no.
Move on.
No, it's almost 2 of our episode titles, though.
Yes,
points
please.
to both teams. Yes, you want to see a dead body. No. All right. Question number 4. The category name is Do you want to see a dead body? What unique animal's name comes from the Norse meaning corpse whale due to its mottled coloration and its habit of lying near the surface, leading people to believe they were seeing a dead body?
So yes, as Jeff was alluding to, we have a episode titled "Do You Want to See a Dead Body?" and another episode titled "Do You Want to Smell a Dead Body?" So maybe this episode would be "Do You Want to Touch a Dead Body?"
I like that. Yeah,
the Dead Body series. Yeah.
The only thing I have is that Corpse Whale would be a cool name of a metal band. But I have nothing else to
also
add.
have nothing to contribute. I keep thinking of it. I was thinking, I'm like, does a walrus lay on its back like that? And I'm like, I would never see a walrus with the tusks sticking out and be like, that's got to be a dead body.
Check out that guy. He's okay.
Look at that guy's teeth.
Although sailors back in the day were seeing all kinds of stuff, so
Yeah. So that's the only thing is it has to be vaguely human shaped as far as like what you would see floating. Maybe
Mermaid. Final answer.
hippopotamus, maybe? It seems like they kind of float near the top.
I like it. That is what I was trying to come up with, something that at least comes to the top of the water. So I think that sounds good.
Okay, we're going to go with hippos.
Not a bad guess. We're saying the beluga whale.
So points to neither team on this one. This one is probably my favorite animal. It's definitely unique. It is the narwhal.
Had it written down too.
Popped in my head, and I thought that tooth, that wouldn't look like a human, would it?
Yeah, you wouldn't think so. Well, although
I assume that the wall part was from like tooth because the walrus is narwhal, but okay.
Yeah, I thought about throwing in the scientific name, which is Monodon monoceros, but I thought that might be a little, maybe.
Would not have helped me.
Neil, you got any fun narwhal facts?
I just heard it's conjecture, so
that they may or may not.
They
be
may
real?
or not be real.
Okay.
Yeah, I did learn a new word though. Looking up mottled coloration, it says the presence of spots or streaks of a particular color, usually reddish, yellowish, or white, which may exist in certain soil horizons. I like that name, soil horizons.
Okay.
That's definitely a metal band name.
Yeah, Soil Horizons.
Or Soiled Horizons, if you have a really long show.
So I hear Soiled Horizons is playing with Corpse Whale this evening.
All right, question number 5. The category is none in a blue moon. Because of the length of the lunar cycle, it's possible for the month of February to pass without having a full moon. This last happened in 2018 and will happen again in 2037. But in February 1608, and which will happen again in February 2572, what even rarer occurrence happened on those dates?
It's saying February doesn't have a full moon at all. So it's got to be something more than that. Weekly, maybe 4 or 2.
I think 4 would be a lot. Maybe 2.
Maybe 2 full moons. I feel like that's kind of like a not that exciting of an answer. That's like, all right, great, 2.
4 seems like it'd be a real event.
Yeah, and we're not going to be around to see it. So.
Yeah, what a shame. If I could visit one date in the future, it would be this one.
Can't wait.
We'll say 4 full moons.
It would be a real event in terms of cataclysm for our planet and gravity. But what did we have?
So we think if the lunar cycle is about a little over 28 days, that if you had like a leap year, you could potentially have
and
a
it
full
was
moon.
lined up just right.
Yeah, you could have one maybe on like the 1st and the 29th. We said 2 full moons.
All right. Well, Jeff was on the right track. These were leap years, but it actually happened that there were still no full moons on the leap year.
Oh, wow.
So close, but not quite.
Went the other way on that one.
After 5 questions in the second round, it looks like Triviality with Buds picking up 20 points, bringing their total to an even 100. And No Friends picking up 20 points as well, bringing their total to 115. Still anyone's game, but right in the middle of this score update, just wanted to say thank you so much to all of our Patreon supporters, including Ryan and Nathan, for helping support the show. If you want to join them, you can go to patreon.com/Triviality Podcast, where you'll get a lot of great perks, stickers, and audio bonuses, boxes, posters, all that good stuff, depending on what level you're at. Or if you want to make a one-time contribution, you can go to our TeePublic store and grab a T-shirt or sticker from over there, or just tell a friend about our show. We'd really appreciate that. So if you'd like to join Patreon to help our show continue to grow, go to patreon.com/Triviality Podcast, and we would very much appreciate it. Nathan, let's move on to question 6.
All right. Question number 6 is band name origins. What rock band, which formed in 1994, takes its name from a term used by the Allies in World War II to describe various unidentified flying objects?
Reluctant.
Interesting. Do you know this one, Ryan?
I was waiting for it to pop up in the chat so I can kind of look at it.
Gotcha.
Do you have any initial thoughts?
I believe it is a Dave Grohl band. I'm almost 100% sure it's Foo Fighters. Because that's the
Rock Band 94, term used by Allies, UFOs, Foo Fighters. Yeah, that sounds great. I bought my first album in 96, and it was a Foo Fighters album.
Oh, very familiar
So,
then. So that's
yeah.
100% locked in.
We said Foo Fighters as well.
All right. Yep. Points to both teams. It is the Foo Fighters. Question number 7. Category is Going All the Way. What song, published in 1857 and now associated with Christmas, was originally written to be sung for Thanksgiving and possibly even intended as a drinking song?
We're locked in.
I got this one, Matt.
Oh, good. I don't. So that works.
It's Jingle Bells.
Yes, we agree.
All right. Yes, the answer is Jingle Bells. That song actually came courtesy of one of my coworkers, Kelly. So shout out to Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Which is crazy that it took another 75 years for the best iteration of that to come around when Batman came up in the 30s.
Sure.
All right. Question number 8. Living in luxury. The Hilton Opera Hotel in the historic French Quarter of this capital city was built in 1999, not far from the site of a prison with a sarcastically given nickname that was torn down a few years earlier.
I have no bearings to guess anything other than what you say, Matt.
Okay. We're gonna go with Paris.
Okay, we're gonna go with a non-French capital, but in a nation that has a long French history, and we're gonna say Casablanca.
All right. Well, apparently this one was a lot harder than I anticipated. The clue in the question was more or less the Hilton part. If you've ever heard the term Hanoi Hilton, that was the nickname of the prison. So the answer is Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. All right. Moving on to question number 9. Hopefully this one's more up your alley. Category is Signs of Spring Training. The Los Angeles Dodgers started their history in Brooklyn and went through a series of name changes. By what name were they known from 1914 to 1931? Not named after the bird, but for their manager at the time.
What about another bird from like Oriole, like something that is used now? You know what I mean? Or
Maybe
something like
an egret. Let's go Oriole. That could be something. Oriole.
Okay.
Yeah, we did not know anything via the baseball history, but we just picked a bird that could also be a dude's name per the question, and we said robin. The robins.
All right. Points to no friends. It is the Robins. The manager was named Wilbert Robinson. They were also known as the Bridegrooms at one point. They were also known as the Superbas. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but Superbas. And the Bridegrooms and just the grooms for a time.
They got to work on these names.
Yeah. All right. And question number 10. The category is the shape of you. If something is described as oviform, it means egg-shaped. What shape does pyriform describe?
Matt, what about like a coil shape? Because of a python can coil, you know what I mean? Something like that.
It's possible, but I think that the OVI is Latin based, and I think that the pyra is also more Latin based when we're looking at the shape. I don't know what pyri or piri would be, but if you're looking at shapes, round, egg shaped. My thought was potentially pear-shaped, meaning smaller at top and then rounder on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be it.
Okay.
But because I think it's also a round shape. But I don't know.
I'm down with that. I think it sounds good.
Okay.
I like your reasoning.
We'll go pear-shaped.
Okay, we were taking a little cue from the category name and figured it might be an Ed Sheeran hint. So we said X because I believe he had like a multiplication symbol as one of his albums. So we said X, like cross-shaped.
All right. Well, points to one team. It is pear-shaped. Good pull, Matt.
So I will draw an X over that answer.
But not a minus at least. So that's good.
Now I'm a notorious Ed Sheeran hater, but the way he won that lawsuit by playing a bunch of songs with the same chords in court is pretty BA. I got to give him credit.
He said he was going to retire from music forever if he lost that lawsuit.
Yeah, so I kind of had my fingers crossed, but he was right. He should have won that, and he did. So
At the end of regulation, it looks like Triviality with Bud's going to be picking up 30 extra points, bringing their total to 130. And No Friends picking up 30 points as well, bringing their total to 145. So 15 points is all that separates both of these teams. Let's hear what those categories are for the final round, Nathan.
All right. Well, I am a Minnesota guy, so I had to go with the following categories for final round, and they are Twins, Vikings, Wolves, Wild, and Lynx.
All of the wagers are locked in, and for the listeners at home, Team No Friends going to be betting 20 all the way down, and Team Triviality with Buds going to be betting 25 all the way down. So
which
see
places us in danger.
It does place you in danger.
We just need to get them all right, and they need to miss one. So,
we'll see what happens. What are the questions?
All right. In the category of twins, twin brothers Norris and Ross McWhirter co-founded what superlative book series in 1955, now published in 100 countries and 23 languages? In the category of Vikings, characters in which composer's 1870 opera Der Ring des Nibelungen helped to create the false stereotype that Vikings wear horned helmets? In the category Wolves, what autoimmune disease, whose full name translates to wolf redness, was named because 18th century doctors thought it was caused by a wolf bite? In the category Wild, wild rice, like domesticated rice, is grown in shallow water in small lakes and slow-flowing streams. With 7.1 million pounds produced in 2021, what state is the largest producer of cultivated wild rice in the world? And in the category of links, this is kind of an SAT type question. So Alicia Silverstone is to Rachel Blanchard as Christy Swanson is to blank.
There are the questions. We will do our best to answer these, and we'll be right back after the messages.
Hello, this is author, professional museum educator, and musician Mick Sullivan, and I create The Past and the Curious, a history podcast for kids and families. The thing I hear most often is that kids and adults enjoy listening to my show together. A lot of kids listen on their own, but I know of a lot of adults who enjoy the show that much too. There's humor, there's music, and most importantly, solid historical context in every story we tell. And we cover a wide range, from stories like the Meachams and their floating freedom school and inventor Garrett Morgan, to the Egg Wars and steamboats stuck in cornfields. Not to mention both meteorites and meat falling from the sky. There's definitely something for everybody and a lot of laughs along the way. We've got over 100 episodes for you, your family, or your class to enjoy. So find The Past and the Curious in all the usual podcast places.
Hi everyone, it's Jean Chatzky, host of the Her Money podcast. For 7 years, my show has been changing the relationships women have with money because, make no mistake, when it comes to money, women are different. We face challenges that men don't. Longer lifespans, caregiving, a gender pay gap that just won't quit. Oh, and the fact that the financial industry was built by men for men. We need information specifically for us, presented without jargon in a judgment-free zone. And that's what the Her Money podcast is all about. Every week, we talk about earning more, spending smart, investing to build the life you want, and protecting yourself from disaster. Subscribe to Her Money with Jean Chatzky wherever you get your podcasts, because when you own your money, you own your life.
All the answers are now in. Let's go back to Nathan for the questions one more time. We'll see how this all shakes out.
All right. In the category of twins, Twin brothers Norris and Ross McWhirter co-founded what superlative book series in 1955, now published in 100 countries and in 23 languages?
So 2 words jumped out to us. One is co-founded, implying that it wasn't them who wrote it, and the other is superlative. So we thought it was maybe the Guinness Book of World Records.
We agreed, and we also said Guinness Book of World Records.
And both teams are correct. All right, in the category of Vikings, characters in which composer's 1870 opera Der Ring des Nibelungen helped create the false stereotype that Vikings wear horned helmets?
We said Wagner.
And I didn't even read the part that it was about a composer. So, whoops. I said Flight of the Valkyrie, which is not even close to anything.
All right, well, that is the song in the opera, but yes, the correct answer is Wagner.
Richard Wagner.
Richard Wagner. Apologies to my poor German pronunciation on that.
But
It was beautiful.
You're up where all the Germans are, right?
This is true. And Swedes. Yeah. All right. Category of wolves. What autoimmune disease, whose full name translates to wolf redness, was named because 18th century doctors thought it was caused by a wolf bite?
All right, and so I would have had no idea what this was unless I watched House over and over and over again. We think this is lupus.
Just this one time, it is lupus.
Oh, I wanted to make the house reference. That's okay. We said
Too
lupus.
bad, man. We took it away from
We
you.
said
That's why I
lupus
wanted
too.
it.
All right. Yes, the answer is lupus. The full name is lupus erythematosus. Lupus erythematosus.
Let's just stick with lupus.
Yeah, lupus is much easier to say. All right. And in the category of wild rice, like domesticated rice, is grown in shallow water, in small lakes, and slow-flowing streams. With 7.1 million pounds produced in 2021, what state is the largest producer of cultivated wild rice in the world?
So we're saying lots of lakes and streams and stuff. So we got to go with the hometown Minnesota answer.
We went somewhat the opposite, way further south, thinking somewhere that maybe eats a lot of rice, a little bit hotter, and we went with Louisiana.
All right. Well, points to no friends. I did have to throw in the home state trivia, and there it is, Minnesota.
I mentioned this might have been the Homer question of the night, and it was. Dang it.
All right, and the final category, links. Alicia Silverstone is to Rachel Blanchard as Christy Swanson is to blank.
So we knew Alicia Silverstone is most famous for playing Cher in Clueless, and Christy Swanson most famous for playing Buffy, but we couldn't quite get this connection because we didn't know who Rachel Blanchard is. So we just went with Cher, thinking maybe Christy Swanson was also in Clueless and Rachel Blanchard was her character or something like that.
We went with Sarah Michelle Gellar, just thinking the connection to TV shows. Alicia Silverstone, Cher in the movie, maybe Rachel Blanchard, the actress on the TV show, and then Christy Swanson in the movie Buffy, and Sarah Michelle Gellar on the TV show.
All right, yep. Triviality with Buds had it exactly right. So Alicia Silverstone played Cher on the movie version of Clueless, and Rachel Blanchard played it in the TV version. Christy Swanson was Buffy, and so Sarah Michelle Gellar is the correct answer because she played Buffy on the TV show.
Well, the scores are in, and Triviality with Buds not going to be coming out on top today, but it's good to have Buds when you play trivia because then you can have fun after the game, regardless if you win or not. So they are going to pick up 25 points, bringing their final total to 155, but picking up 60 points in the final round, bringing their score to 205, are today's cream of the crop, No Friends.
The cream of the crop.
Well, no friends, but lots of points, and yeah, feels good to be the cream. But great game put up by you two, Matt and Ryan.
Yes. Yeah, and thank you so much, Ryan, for being here today. We're so excited to have you on the show finally, and just as fans of the show and getting to know you a little bit, it's been so much fun. Why don't you let folks at home know where they can find you, your show, and anything else you have going on, and any other final shout-outs, of course, as well.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. You guys can listen to my podcast Monday through Friday, Trivia with Buds. Just search the word trivia on any podcast app, and you'll see Triviality and Trivia with Buds, usually right towards the top. So give us both a listen, give it both subscribe, and check out my website, triviawithbuds.com. If you want to book any events, bingo, game shows, singo, trivia, you name it, I can come do it. Ted Lasso cast approves, I hope. And this has been a blast. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, if you're like, you know what? I want to listen to a great episode of trivia, but I don't have an hour. Check out Ryan's show because he does great little snippets every single day.
And I will say my favorite thing about your program, Ryan, is your different posters that you use. I've seen you have your face as Dalton from Roadhouse. I think right now it's Macho Man. You always have a great different piece of artwork that's always fun to pop up on your feed. So great job with that.
Thanks a lot, Neil. New one coming by the time this episode's out.
Awesome.
Cool.
Can't wait to see it. And Nathan, thank you so much for writing today's game. Really clever questions. Wish I was playing myself. So nice of you to put together a full game for us. Any parting words from you before we let you go today?
No, I mean, this was a lot of fun. My first time hosting or actually appearing on the show at all. So I would love to be back, either write another show or as a guest answering the questions. Shout out to my wife Brianna, and I guess should say happy anniversary because it's our anniversary coming up. But
Congrats.
she's keeping the dogs quiet today, so shout out to Brianna.
And before we go, really quick, we want to, as always, thank Airwave Media and airwavemedia.com, where you can find such great podcasts as Earn and Invest, Historical Blindness, and Reach, a space podcast for kids.
Well, thank you so much, and hopefully next time, if you do want to host another game, we'll get a glimpse of Lila and Penny Lane. But until then, thank you very much to Nathan and Ryan. And maybe we'll try some of that Schadenfreude. What's it called?
Hagelslag.
We'll see how that goes. But thank you to Nathan, Ryan, Matt, Jeff, and Ken. My name is Neil, and that was Hagenschlag.